amongst each other, and this day really highlights and spotlights the importance of that. We're here with the SABC Foundation and Habitat for Humanity at the Nelson Mandela Build here in the community of Orange Farm in Johannesburg, and we're here to build a number of houses across the country here in South Africa, but here in Orange Farm in particular, 4 homes are being built for this community. We're still unpacking what's going on at this really exciting endeavor. Joining us is David Sidume, the Fundraising and Resources Mobilization Manager at Habitat for Humanity South Africa. Well, David, as we continue the conversation, let's speak a little bit about the people who come together to make this a possibility.
Thanks a lot, Palesa. Yes, like I said, it is honestly through the responsible corporates like Sanlam and Henkel that we're building with here. In the Western Cape, we have Teleperformance as part of that, and together with the Western Cape province. So these are the corporates that really enable us to do the work that you're doing. And the unique model that Habitat has when it comes to communities is that we do this with the community. We're not only doing it for the community. I mean, this is a product of years of relations that we've built with this particular community. When we started years back with this community, there were just individuals. You can see most of the people that are here is unemployed youth that would employ and say, and offer a stipend. You can say, help us with doing this and this. Over the years, they've organized themselves into a CBO.
Okay, what's a CBO?
A community-based organization, and its name is Eslahleni Sentutugo. Now, this is now this community-based organization literally takes forward the work of Habitat. We're asking a question. We come here once in a blue moon. What happens with this community? These are the people that carry the work forward with these communities. We spoke about the food gardens that are there. You can see, I mean, it's during the week, and you'd almost say it's a weekend because the scourge of unemployment, the scourge of poverty mollification, and all of these things. So our model is such that when you come into a community, we also organize the community itself so that it can be self-reliant in doing some of these interventions for themselves.
How do you mobilize volunteers just generally in such a big project? Because you would think that it's just 8 houses or so, but I think it's a lot of work to actually mobilize people to actually make a difference in other people's. You don't want to create also structures that are going to be dilapidated and they're going to be a problem for the homeowners. How do you mobilize an effective mission such as this one?
Okay, thanks, Benjamin. A very brilliant observation. We deal with volunteers. There's 2 sets of volunteers. The first aspect of it is through corporates. So when we go to corporates, we're saying to them, do not just yes, well and good, you can donate the funds for us to build these houses, but we say to them, bring along your staff. Bring along your executives to come and be part of this construction. The fond memory that you have about how you'd have participated in this in this build, that house is still standing somewhere in this community, and that family will never forget that there were these individuals that came through a particular corporate that were that started the whole build program. So over the 5 days, what we do is that we say to corporates, a maximum of 15 volunteers per house that you're going to be bringing in here so that they get the real life experience, because it's easy for us to be lost in our air-conditioned offices and all of these things, and we forget the reality of what is really happening in society. But on the community side of volunteers, what we do is that we try not to bring in people from outside when there is youth that is unemployed in that particular community. So we then invite them to, can say, unemployed youth, come and assist us on the particular day. But over the years, the partnerships that we had, for instance, Nedbank was one of the partners that we are building with last year, where they will then some of these youth get to be assimilated into entrepreneurship programs. Then they get into learnerships and all of these things. We encourage our construction partners also to look at how do we impart skills to some of these these beneficiaries. One other critical aspect of it, which may be overwhelming, to avoid it being overwhelming to homeowners, is that we then get to give them some training on land tenure and land security. Remember, one of the things that needs to happen is that we are building on stands that were availed by government.
Yes.
It has to be a service stand, and there are legacy issues that are that come up that follow that. Because in some instances you find that we are shown, and then what happens to this particular house. So what we try to do is that we make sure that there is a title deed and there is that conversation within the family to can say, should Gogo pass on, what is going to happen to this particular house.
I think that is incredible because it doesn't only speak to one dimension, right? Providing the house itself, but also bringing in the skills that are necessary to maintain, to understand what happens in the future. But also it brings that conversation of sustainability in it. So it's not just a house, it's sustainable and it allows that family to grow generations and generations after. Well, it's going to be quite an exciting day, David. And we can't wait to spend the day with you guys here, Habitat of Humanity, and see the homes also being built, but also engage with those who will be the recipient of the day. Thank you so much for joining us here at our Channel Africa van, and have a good day. I hope your hands are ready to build.
when I came, my hands were much smoother than this. Now, over time,
Good.
I get to forget about that.
I'm glad you're putting in the work. You must teach Ben how to lay a brick or two there.
No, I saw him on a helmet.
I'm coming for lessons just in a few minutes.
All right, that's David Sidumedi, Fundraising and Resources Mobilization Manager for Habitat for Humanity South Africa, speaking to us about what's going to be taking place today at the Nelson Mandela Build. This is all taking place for Nelson Mandela Day. What are you doing for your 67 minutes? It's 9:30 Central Africa time. Let's get our latest sports news.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
And a very good morning from the sports desk. I am Musibu Dimakura with the latest sports news at the hour. So after a group stage containing 45 goals and top spots for the big hitters in Nigeria, Morocco as well as South Africa, the quarterfinals of the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations tournament officially get underway tonight. So no team won all of their first three matches, although Zambia as well as Algeria joined group winners and remaining undefeated, while Ghana also progressed as runner-ups despite losing their opener. Mali as well as Senegal advancing as the two best third-placed sides and are now seeking significant upsets and a reward of a place in the final four. So first up will be Nigeria up against Zambia. The 9-time champions Nigeria have never failed to reach a WAFCON tournament when you look at the semi-finals rather. But the coach of the side, Justine Magadu, says goals are a concern after scoring just once since their opening game. Zambia meanwhile scored 7 goals and conceded 4 of their way on their way to matching Nigeria's tally of 7 points, with strikers Barbara Banda as well as Rachel Kurinanchi notching up 3 goals each. Meanwhile, in the second quarterfinal match later on tonight, the host nation, Morocco, will face off with Mali at 9 p.m. Central African time. A 1-0 victory over Senegal ensured Morocco's path to the final avoids Nigeria as well as South Africa, with 4-goal captain Jeslan Chabak, the prize candidate to trouble a Mali side who lost 4-0 to South Africa in their third match. The Atlas Lionesses conceded twice in each of their first 2 games against Zambia as well as the Democratic Republic of Congo. Mali, meanwhile, will be hoping that the captain will recover from an injury that forced the goalkeeper to be substituted against Banyana just a few days ago in their final group stage match. In cricket news now, South Africa's under-19 co-captain Mohamed Boibuli's 72 of 79 deliveries was all in vain as he watched his side go down by a massive 130 runs to Bangladesh in their first youth ODI match in Benoni in the east of Johannesburg yesterday. So having elected to bowl first, the host side struggled to get rid of Zawad Abrea, Rizwan Hussein as well as MD Abdullah, as they scored a damaging combined 196 with the bat and ultimately ending on 285. So the co-captain saying that although the score was competitive to try and chase, he thought they could have still recovered it.
Yeah, listen, I think it was quite a competitive game of cricket. I think Bangladesh played really well across the game in both innings. I think obviously we got off to a good start with a few early wickets and then a couple of partnerships. I still think our bowlers did an excellent job to bring it back at the back end, the last 14, 15 overs the way we did. And at the break, 280 I think was gettable.
Well, two-time T20 World Cup winner Andre Russell will retire from international cricket at the age of 37 after the second T20 match against Australia to be played on the 22nd of July in his hometown of Kingston in Jamaica. So Cricket West Indies having announced this on Wednesday. All-rounder Russell, who won the T20 World Cup in 2012 and 2016 and earned 84 international caps in that format, scoring 350s and 61 wickets. Now the white ball specialist who played only one test match also appeared in 56 one-day internationals while taking 70 wickets for his country. He last played in the 50-over format back in 2019. Russell, who also travels around the world competing in T20 leagues and most recently appeared in the Major League Cricket in the USA this month, said he wanted to finish off his international career on a high note. Well, Wolves have inducted former forward Diogo Jota into the Hall of Fame in a tribute that honours both his remarkable achievements of the club as well as the deep impact his passing has had on the footballing world. The Portugal international as well as the 25-year-old brother Andre Silva, who also was a footballer, died in a car crash on the 3rd of July in the Spanish province of Zamora. Now, Jota moved to Wolves from Atletico Madrid in July of 2017 in a deal which was initially on a season-long loan and then made permanent before going to join Liverpool in 2020. He went on to score 44 goals and 131 appearances for Wolves and was also a key player when they won the championship title in the 2017-2018 season to earn promotion into top-flight football. Jota, who also helped the club qualify for the Europa League with a 7th place finish during their first season back into top-flight football. It's a wrap from the Sports Desk at the Sawa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, our email address is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Hello, Africa. We would love to hear your voice on our radio station. Be part of the fun and send a shout out or greeting message to your loved ones and your favorite Channel Africa presenters. Whether you're in Africa, the diaspora, or anywhere else around the globe, we want to hear your voice. Send your shout out message by sending an email to info@channelafrica.co.za or send them to our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. Help us diversify our sound with your voice. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
No time to waste. Be on the move with Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa.
Thank you so much, Musibudi, for that update. Let's move on right now and get our business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Benjamin. Good morning. In our top story at this hour, Nigeria's African Democratic Congress has demanded a full audit of Nigeria's refineries, citing reports that allege that successive governments have spent nearly $18 billion on rehabilitation of the 3 major refineries in the country. The party has questioned whether President Bola Tinubu's administration has been deceiving Nigerians, having spent over $2.8 billion on the refineries before declaring that they are now planning to sell them because they are defunct. They say they are suspicious of government's decision to sell these refineries without giving full consideration to alternative options, and that this could lead to national assets being deliberately devalued and sold to cronies. The Cross-Border Traders Association of Malawi says Tanzania's move to introduce a mandatory travel insurance of $44 upon entry is a trade barrier to cross-border traders. This new requirement applies to all international visitors, regardless of the proposed travel, including tourists and business travelers. Malawi and other COMESA member states have since demanded talks with the government of Tanzania to especially address the issue of small-scale traders who will be impacted by this. The desk officer at the Cross-Border Traders Association of Malawi, Richard Batch, explains.
As you know that we are fighting for the non-tariff barriers. So bringing in another cost that is not unplanned for the business is also a challenge, which also affect most of the small-scale traders as they are traveling and doing their businesses. Hence, there is a need to remove this cost for the small-scale traders so that they should travel freely when they are doing their businesses.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says the South African government generated about $22.4 billion in infrastructure investment last year. He says among other stakeholders involved to achieve this is the private sector. He described this as a milestone in financial injections since 2021.
Last year, the total value of new projects announced by both the public and the private sectors amounted to 454 billion rand, the largest fixed investment in infrastructure in South Africa since 2021.
Nigerian billionaire businessman Aliko Dangote is seeking approval to develop a new seaport in Olokola, Ogun State, located about 100 kilometers from his fertilizer and oil refinery complex in Lagos. The proposed Atlantic seaport would boost export capacity and ease logistics, complementing the on-site jetty he currently uses to ship urea and receive heavy equipment for the refinery. Economic analyst Progress Palm Springs says the proposed seaport is also strategically positioned and will provide significant economic benefits for Nigeria's economy.
Strategic trade positioning. Located on the Atlantic coast, the port offers access to both West African regional markets and global shipping routes, a major plus for transshipment and regional trade. Then, of course, job creation and economic zones. So this project will likely spur industrial clusters around the port. This includes warehousing, processing plants, export zones, creating thousands of jobs and bolstering Nigeria's non-oil GDP, which is something that is very, very important for Nigeria.
Now moving further afield, Brazil's President Lula da Silva has described as unacceptable blackmail his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump's threats to impose harsh tariffs on his country. Last week, Trump threatened Brazil with 50% tariffs. He also called for an end to the trial of his ally, the right-wing former President Jair Bolsonaro, who's accused of trying to overturn Brazil's 2022 election. In a televised address, President Lula accused Trump of making false claims.
The allegations about Brazil's unfair trade practices are false. For over 15 years, the United States has run a substantial trade surplus of $410 billion with Brazil.
And now looking at our indicators at this hour, $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,528 naira. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 29. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 40. And in Zambia, it's 23 kwacha 14. The BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 rial 56. Russia, 78 rubles 11. India, it's 85 rupees 99. China, 7 yuan 17. And South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 85 cents. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,336 and platinum at $1,461 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $69.51 a barrel. And those are your business news at this hour. I'll be back with more in the next hour. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Bontle Headbush.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Si vous êtes un artiste promoteur qui cherche à présenter sa musique à un public plus large ou qui cherche simplement à promouvoir sa musique à la radio, nous pouvons vous aider. Mais vous pouvez faire certaines choses pour augmenter vos chances de succès. Envoyez-nous votre musique à musique@channelafrica.co.za. Nous avons besoin des informations suivantes pour vous aider au mieux. Étiquetez code ISRC, titre, interprète, compositeur, éditeur, auteur, langue, genre. Écoutez votre chanson à la radio, la bande sonore parfaite pour votre journée. Avec Channel Africa et votre musique, vous ne vous ennuierez jamais car nous jouerons votre musique. Découvrez le meilleur de la musique africaine avec Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move. Ahoy, matey.
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital...
Ikiwa wewe ni msanii chipukizi na unayetaka kutambulisha muziki wako kwa hadhira pana, au unataka kutangaza muziki wako kwenye redio, tunaweza kusaidia. Lakini kuna mambo machache unayoweza kufanya ili kuongeza nafasi zako za kufaulu. Tutumie muziki wako kupitia music@channelafrica.co.za. Tazama, tunahitaji maelezo yafuatayo kusaidia vyema: lebo, alama ya siri ya ISRC, kichwa, mwigizaji, mtunzi, mchapishaji, mwandishi, lugha na aina. Sikiliza wimbo wako kwenye redio, wimbo bora wa siku yako. Ukiwa na Channel na muziki wako, hutawahi kuchoshwa kwa sababu tutacheza muziki wako. Pata uzoefu bora zaidi katika muziki wa Kiafrika, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
Start your day right with Channel Africa Breakfast.
That smells delicious.
Live, 5 days a week. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
It's 9:45 Central Africa time and still tuned into On the Move right here on Channel Africa. It's an incredible day. We're enjoying it. It's Nelson Mandela Day and it's a day of giving all across the world, not just on the African continent, but we're here with the Nelson Mandela Build event, and this is where we're building houses all across South Africa. But today we're here in the Orange Farm community where 4 houses will be built by Habitat for Humanity alongside their many sponsors. One of their sponsors being Henkel South Africa, and it's a commemorative day indeed that will be attended by not just the Habitat for Humanity, the SABC Foundation, and these donors like Sanlam, ABSA, and Henkel South Africa. And we're finding out from some of the delegates, some of those who have a vested interest in giving today. We have with us the head of consumer adhesive at Henkel South Africa, Stefano Bosselli. Thank you so much for your time, Stefano.
Thank you to you for asking me. Thank you.
Well, this is an incredible day, isn't it? You can even feel it in the air, that spirit. And it's the spirit that brings us here, the spirit of Nelson Mandela, that is the spirit of giving.
Absolutely. And it's a very nice connection between Nelson Mandela Day and also the value of our company, Henkel.
Absolutely.
That it's really focused also on social responsibility. And this is a fantastic example how we can make it happen together.
Let's speak a little bit about that. Tell us how Henkel decided to get involved in this incredible initiative.
Yes, in fact, a couple of months ago, I was approached by our global team asking our availability as a team, as a South African team, to spend some days volunteering. And in fact, there is a very nice partnership with Habitat for Humanity that started 10 years ago. We did a lot of projects already. In the last 10 years, we spent something like 1,000 days volunteering.
Wow.
And so it was really a nice opportunity for us to partner, to join, to spend time, to dedicate time with around 20 Henkel employees. and then to really help the community.
Yes. And why was it so important for your organization to not just help financially, which is incredible on its own? I mean, a lot of organizations do that, but to also bring in some of your employees to actually be on the ground and see what the spirit of giving actually feels like?
So, in fact, it's leading by example.
Yes.
So, we need to walk the talk. So, sustainability is really important for Henkel and is part of our global strategy. But sustainability is not only environment, it's also social responsibility. And social responsibility is from one side helping in case of emergency, like in COVID time, or it's partnering with NGOs like Habitat for Humanity. And also volunteering. So we have really a lot of possibility to volunteer, just proposing projects from Henkel employees, and the Fritz Henkel Foundation will support and fund the projects. From the other side, there are other opportunities like having the Henkel team just spending time and volunteering projects like sustainability project, educational project, or just simply helping communities, like in this case.
Yeah, in this case, we are helping a community, and the Orange Farm community, as we see all around, is not, the most privileged of communities. In fact, it's one of the least privileged communities here in South Africa. There are many communities like it, though, where people are unemployed, where people don't have adequate housing, and their safety is always at risk. When you guys come into a community like this, what sort of lasting effect would you like to leave in a community like Orange Farm?
Maybe that could be perceived as just a small step, because it's just a few houses. But in fact, every single step matters. Absolutely. And this is also giving also a future for a couple of families, 3 families, and also is linked to dignity. So, in fact, we really hope that this can be just one drop in the ocean, but it's a signal on what we can do and everyone can do.
Well, we appreciate it. Tell us a little bit more about, the work that Henkel wants to do, and of course, the work that it really values to do in communities like this. And of course, this is just, as you said, a small drop for many of us, but there is a future ahead where surely Henkel, as you said, you guys do believe in sustainability, and you'd like to work more with communities, with global sustainable projects.
So let's start from our main brand in South Africa is Prit, and Prit is a brand that everyone knows.
Yes.
Everyone.
Yeah.
And is a brand for kids, and in fact that's creating a strong connection with the families.
Of course.
And so for us, it's not only educating children and promoting creativity, but there is also on the other side, right? Promoting, ensuring that people may live better lives. And so, in fact, we really would like, with what we do, we would like to offer better learning opportunities and try and advocate for social progress. So that's our ambition.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Stefano. Now that you mentioned Prit, it also brings out that nostalgia in me from, all the way in primary school where I used that product. And my mom, I was always in trouble. I lost my Prit a couple of times and my mom had to buy another one. But thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure. And well done on, being a part of an incredible project like this.
Thank you. Thank you a lot.
That's the head of consumer adhesive at Henkel South Africa, Stefano Boselli, speaking about their contribution to this amazing day, the Nelson Mandela Build event, where we are at the Orange Farm community for Nelson Mandela Day. Giving back. How are you giving? It's 9:52 Central Africa time.
If you are an upcoming artist looking to showcase your music to a wider audience, or just looking to promote your music on the radio, we can help. But there are few things you can do to increase your chances of success. 1. Send your music to music@channelafrica.co.za. 2. We require the following information to help you best: your label, your ISRC code, title of the song, performer, composer, publisher, author, language, genre. These are the things we would like to compose your musical bio. 3. Listen to Channel Africa play your music on the radio. The perfect soundtrack for your day. With Channel Africa and your music, you will never be bored because we play your music. Experience the best African music on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Okay, let's do live read.
Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
SABC Sport brings you Chasing the Sun, a powerful 5-part documentary series about the Springboks, telling the rousing tale of their path to redemption and ultimate World Cup glory in 2019. Starting on the 13th of July at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2, tune in every Sunday for the highs, the heartache and the heroics that made rugby history. Stream each chapter on SABC Plus anytime, anywhere, no subscription needed. Don't miss Chasing the Sun this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2. Be there when history shines.
The rhythm of Africa, the pulse of the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective. And Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa. Partner with Channel Africa because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa. Partner with Channel Africa because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the
legend, paying homage to another bigger legend. That's Jonathan Butler with one titled Mandela Bay. This is Channel Africa. You're listening to us in our outside broadcast. This is going to be an exciting day. It already is. I see everyone has their helmets on. I see everyone is getting ready with their protective garments on, and the people are getting ready to go to this house that's going to get built outside here in Orange Farm, where we're broadcasting from.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help it, actually. I was laughing a little bit. I'm wondering if the 2000s would understand the
What?
the context of this particular title of the song by
Yeah.
Jonathan Butler, Mandela Bay.
Yeah.
Mandela Bay.
No, man. Probably why.
Sorry, I'm being
Yes,
silly.
Nelson Mandela was a bit of a bay.
He was a bit of a bay. You're right, but not that kind of bay, guys. B-A-Y, Mandela Bay.
You
not
had to take
Mandela
it there,
Bay. I mean, it's a fun day. I do want to have a little bit of fun. It is Friday as well, so we're enjoying ourselves. And also, giving can be incredibly fun. There's a lot of energy here, and I think I'm just feeding off the great energy of this particular space, this outside broadcast, but also that spirit of giving that's in the air.
I'm so Grasha Machel would love that joke, and Winnie Mandela.
Yes, absolutely, because Mandela was their bay.
Well, we're looking forward. We're going to keep you in the know of what's happening here, but we want to get your thoughts. Maybe you can go to our social media and let us know what giving means to you, because it's not just about doing something one in a while. Giving is a spirit. It's a feeling. It's a philosophy of life, and that's what Nelson Mandela taught us. And that's something that we are exercising. We're reminding ourselves today of that wonderful muscle, that spiritual muscle called giving. And we're having a good time here, seeing that the space that we're in is kind of a central space. We're in a church, a structure where we are right now, and people are now moving out of where we are to the house that's being built, and we're going to join them a little bit later. We have to be here in the broadcast, but we're giving you an image of what's happening here. People are wearing their helmets, people are wearing their their overalls.
Yeah,
Is that
their
what you call
overalls.
them? Is it overalls?
Yes, people are wearing overalls.
Is that not
and
a South
hard
African
hats.
term? Overall.
I don't know. I don't think it's a South African term.
Okay.
So yeah, they are wearing their overalls,
Yes, their
ready to, of
boots.
course, to build their boots, their gloves.
Yeah.
So it's a hands-in project, and that's a beautiful thing, right? It's not just volunteers from a distance saying, "Hey guys, we're building houses," and you're just sitting there on TikTok or taking videos. No, we're getting in there. We're getting dirty. Well, not us yet, but we will be going there as well. And people are actually volunteering not just their money, but they're volunteering their time and their hands.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. If you're like, guys, where are you? We are in Orange Farm. We're at the Nelson Mandela Build. It's a project where it's 3 provinces are actually involved, and that is Western Cape, Eastern Cape, and also Gauteng province in South Africa. And about 11 homes are being built in different parts of the country. So it's a wonderful project that is under the banner of Habitat for Humanity, which is hanging out with the SABC Foundation. Well, we're moving to 10 o'clock Central African time. Thank you for joining us right here on DSTV channel 802. Remember, you can also find us on DSTV 628 and www.channelafrica.co.za and the SABC Plus app. We're going to cross over back to our Johannesburg studios and find out what's the latest news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Looking at your top stories, Burkina Faso military rulers disband the country's electoral commission, and U.S. President Donald Trump diagnosed with a vein condition. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. Burkina Faso's military rulers have disbanded the country's electoral commission, calling it a waste of money. The state media has reported that the Interior Ministry will handle elections in the future. Since seizing power in September 2022, the coup leaders have initiated sweeping reforms, including the postponement of elections, which would lead to a return to civilian rule. A nationwide vote was due last year, but the junta extended the period of transition to democracy until July 2029, allowing the leader, Captain Ibrahim Traore, to remain in power and free to contest the next presidential election. South Africa's Metro Police have warned motorists of potential traffic delays in Pretoria this morning because of two marches. One is organized by Defence South Africa and the other civic movements, and others by the Umkhonto weSizwe Party. The two groups will march from Marabastad and Church Square respectively to the Union buildings. The Defence South Africa group is demanding President Cyril Ramaphosa's immediate resignation, while the MK Party's march is in support of the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Police have urged motorists to use alternative routes. Nhlanhla Ntshingila explains.
According to a statement by the TMPD, marchers are expected to disperse from the Union buildings at 14:30. The following streets will be affected: Struben, Sophie de Bruyn, Madiba, Bosman, Paul Kruger, Thabo Sehume, Lillian Ngoyi, Sisulu, Dudoy, Nelson Mandela Drive, Steve Biko, and Hamilton Street. The Tshwane Metro Police and the South African Police Service officers will be deployed to monitor the march and all the affected streets. Nhlanhla Ntshingila for SABC News, Pretoria.
South Africa's Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mamuluko Kubai, says the cost of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry hasn't been finalized. Kubai, however, says they are working on reducing the cost to allay the fears of South Africans after the KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's alleged rampant corruption within the South African Police Service and collusion with criminal syndicates filtering from some of the top brass. Mkhwanazi implicated top police officials, including the Police Minister, Senzo Mchunu. Kubai explains.
Venue has been sourced, staff has been appointed. I've signed some of the memos. I've already made sure that we can be up and running. Protection of the commissioners, we will be able to have to protect them in terms of the work that they've been done. I've signed off the terms of reference yesterday. They are being processed. I'm hoping that together with the commission, establishment of the commission will be gazetted today, latest tomorrow, but latest is tomorrow. The logos are being finalized, so we're dealing with two parallel commissions, I must say. So almost all of them, by looking of things, is that next week they must be live.
Civil society organization the Swaziland Solidarity Network has expressed outrage over the arrival of 5 foreign criminal deportees from the United States in Eswatini. The Eswatini government confirmed that migrants described by U.S. Department of Homeland Security spokesperson as depraved monsters had been sent to its prisons. They had been convicted of crimes including child rape. The organization accused the country's monarchy and of personally benefiting from the exchange and has called this situation bizarre. Lucky Lukele is a spokesperson for the Swaziland Solidarity Network.
This is an insult to the territorial integrity of the country. King Mswati does not own Swaziland. It belongs to the people. So we reject this thing with the contempt it deserves. And one thing that has come to light is that this could have been a deal. As you know, that Lesotho and South Africa and other countries were hit with tariffs and threatened to be kicked out of AGOA. This could have been a deal by the king because Swaziland was mysteriously left out of this thing. So these are gangsters that have sat down and struck a deal because there is money that Swaziland will receive for these criminals.
Lastly, U.S. officials have confirmed that President Donald Trump has been diagnosed with a vein condition. The White House says frequent handshakes and aspirin have bruised his hands. Trump takes aspirin to prevent heart disease, the BBC's Sarah Smith reports.
Recent pictures of Donald Trump showing his legs and ankles looking swollen and very obvious heavy makeup on the back of his hand has prompted all sorts of speculation about his health. So the White House has sought to reassure people that the president is not suffering from any serious condition, saying that he's been diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, which his doctor said is a common condition, particularly in individuals over the age of 70. President Trump is 79.
Recapping on your top stories, Burkina Faso's military rulers have disbanded the country's electoral commission, calling it a waste of money. The state media has reported that the Interior Ministry will handle the elections in the future. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Ntsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
7 minutes past 10 Central Africa time. You're still tuned in to On the Move right here on Channel Africa with myself, Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama with you for another 2 hours. Hop on, it's a great one because it's Nelson Mandela Day. And what people do all around the world to celebrate this incredible day is they spend 67, yes, 67. There's a particular reason why it's 67, so stay with me. They spend 67 minutes doing something good. So that's just about an hour and 7 minutes, just over an hour, doing something good for others, showing kindness. And it doesn't have to be monetary, it doesn't have to be physical, but it can also just be, sharing beautiful moments with others, sharing a smile, making others feel good. That's because Nelson Mandela was in prison during the apartheid era for 67 years. And to commemorate his time and I guess he's giving to us as South Africans to give us the freedom through apartheid, of course, alongside many other struggle stalwarts, we are giving 67 minutes of our day today to give to others.
Yeah, as you can hear, you heard a car in the background.
Yeah.
We're just outside a beautiful street here, and we are inside the vicinity of a very community-based church here in this beautiful town in Orange Farms called the Heroes of Faith Ministries, and everyone is moving in and out and is getting their secure building equipment and making sure that they are ready to actually go out to minister for real and build a house.
Absolutely. So this is the outside broadcast that we have. No, we're not in our studios today. It's the Nelson Mandela Build with the SABC Foundation alongside Humanity, Habitat for Humanity, and various other stakeholders that are a part of this. Donors like Sanlam, ABSA, and Henkel South Africa that we spoke to a little bit earlier on. Building 4 homes in the community of Orange Farm. But they've been touring. They started in the Western Cape of South Africa and they built 5 homes in Khayelitsha. And then they went into the Eastern Cape, built 2 homes in the Joe Slovo community, and now we're here in Johannesburg, Gauteng, in the Orange Farm community, building 4 homes. We'll be speaking to some of the stakeholders as we've begun already in the first hour of the show. But in this hour, I think it's a little bit more heartfelt to speak to some of the recipients who will be receiving houses from this particular project.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. Who is actually getting that house? How is it going to change their daily lives? And most importantly, what does it mean for them to see their community, people that they know coming together to build that house for them? It's a special occasion, moving our heartstrings indeed. This is our Nelson Mandela broadcast, a special one indeed, and we're joining you from Orange Farm, just outside from our Johannesburg studios. It's a bit of a drive, an hour and a half, but we are right here, especially so you can feel the energy of what's happening here.
Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K
or more of our forests have been destroyed. Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Well, we are having, it's just a small part to play in this amazing project that's taking place today. It's Nelson Mandela Day, and we're here with Habitat for Humanity, the SABC Foundation as well. And they're part of this incredible day to build homes in this Orange Farm community where we are broadcasting lives. And we've spoken to some of the key stakeholders already who are speaking about why they decided to be a part of this project, the importance of restoring dignity, the importance of coming into communities and leaving sustainable solutions. But it's nothing to speak of, the community without speaking to the community. And that's what we're going to do at this moment. One of the incredible recipients of the homes that are being built in this community is here with us. This is Umama Jane Mtetwa, and she's joining us here at the On the Move van to speak about this particular initiative and, of course, how she relates to this particular conversation. Mama Nyabonga, thank you so much for joining us.
Nyabonga mntana.
Mama, yazi ilanga libalulekile le kakhulu. It's a very important day indeed, because ukuba nendlu is something that wonke umuntu deserves. Wonke umuntu abe nendlu. Mara lasiphuma khona sonke, especially la South Africa nakonke nje in Africa, baningi abantu abangenazo izindlu. And so many of us find ourselves in positions where we spend all our lives and baningi futhi abashonayo bangazange babe nendlu. So ngicela usitshele ukuthi uzizwa kanjani ngalelanga.
Nginibingelele nonke South Africa. Ngiyabonga kakhulu ukuthi lelanga lanamhlanje lize lafika. Ngibonga uSanlam, ngibonga uHabitat, babe ubaba kimi, baba umiyeni kimi, bangenzela okuhle konke emva kweminyaka emide engaka engangihamba indlela yokufuna indlu ngicela indlu. Injalo indaba.
Yeah. Ngiyabonga for saying that, because you're saying that, Habitat for Humanity, Sanlam, my sponsors wonke are like a father to you today. They are like a husband to you today, because they did for you what you were supposed to have already. And it's a huge, big day for you. How many years have you been trying to get a home for yourself and your family?
Hey, same nyaka emide mntana.
Yeah.
More than 29, 30 years. Ngilongijima ngifuna indlu ngayithola.
And in the meantime, ulokhu wenzani njengoba ungenandlu? Uhlala kuphi nabantwana bakho? Uhlala kuphi nomndeni wakho?
Bengihlala emkhukhwini nomndeni wami. uHabitat ke no Sanlam naba sebayangikhipha namhlanje emkhukhwini.
Yebo.
Unela umkhukhu angisena finisher, angisena lutho, angisena mpahla, angisena lutho, umkhukhu empty, izimvula ziphelela kimi. Ngingena nomuntu ongubaba owazi ukungisiza ngoba ubaba weyingane zami washona kudala 2013 le. Manje ngisokola ngedwa.
Yeah. And mommy is just saying that she is living in the shack before Habitat for Humanity comes through and tells her that she'll be a recipient of a home. And a shack is quite a fragile structure. When it's raining, which it does quite a lot in these areas, when it's raining, it rains through. All the furniture is gone. It's been damaged from the rain. You can imagine just sleeping under those conditions and being under those conditions on an everyday basis. So what are you looking forward to? Manje sozoba nendlu. You and your family are going to be sheltered. It's going to be very different. Kuyini nje oyibhekile ezoshintsha empilweni zenu?
Kuzoshintsha ngoba nako sengizobe ngithola indlu noma sengingasenayo ifinishara, ngingasenayo impahla, ngingasena lutho okusalayo makunala engifaka khona ikhanda nezingane zami nezukulu zami. Imvula ingangithola amakhaza ngangithola.
Yeah. And kuhle makunjalo ngoba Yazi, throughout life, as you said, uyazazi ubone a lot of things happening in your life. Your furniture's gone, your clothes are gone. You've had a lot of damage because of the living situation that you are under, living in a shack, and now that's going to change. But there's still a lot to do, right? Ngoba izinto zakho azisekho. Kusho ukuthi kumele uqalele phansi kahle kahle. But uqala phansi ngesimo esingcono kunalesi ophuma kuso. Kunjalo ma?
Kuzabe kungcono ngoba umuzi uzobe ukhona sengizamane ngixokelela lapho angisebenza ngithi ngihola igrant.
Yes.
Manje igrant abantwana abasebenzi izukulu nazo nazi ngiyondla ngapha. Ngingedwa nginamsizi.
Mama siyabonga yazi sikulakazela konke okuhle ukuya phambili. We really are happy that you are getting your house, and you said it yourself, very grateful to Habitat for Humanity and all the sponsors that are here today as a recipient of your home. Ngiyakujabulela kakhulu and ngiyakubongela.
Ngiyabonga abantu abamnami ngibonga nabo baba nje ebesibathuma bagijima baya ku Habitat baya yonke indawo. Oh ngiyababonga labo baba labo babe abobaba kithi basibonisa uthando basibonisa thina abafelokazi ukuthi bangasisiza kanjani. Ngiyababonga kakhulu.
Ngiyabonga. That is Umama Jane Mthethwa, who is one of the recipients of the homes that will be built here today in the Orange Farm community through this Nelson Mandela Build community, alongside Habitat for Humanity and the SABC Foundation and many of the sponsors who are partaking in this event. Let's take a short break. We still have more recipients to speak to us today. It's a joyous event, so let's be joyful and be merry.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you will be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Keeping you on the know and on the move. Conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story. A living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent. African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices. English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa. Partner with Channel Africa because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to...
I'm Malay, titled Musadi, and we're talking to women of the community here in Orange Farm who are recipients of the houses that are being built today, right here on Nelson Mandela Day. And today, as Channel Africa, we are here under the banner of the SABC Foundation, alongside Habitat for Humanity. And this is a powerful day because the lives are going to be changed. It's part of the Nelson Mandela Build, where a few houses have been built in different parts of South Africa for those who have never really owned houses. It is a commemorative day which has wonderful donors, Sanlam, Absa and Henkel South Africa, and also we see representatives from the Department of Human Settlements here in South Africa. I want to speak to another lovely recipient that is Mama Anangwala, who is joining us here at our outside broadcast. Mama Ana, unjani?
Angikhona njani?
Siyaphila. Mama uthole indlu namhlanje. I'm sure ujabule kanjani?
Yo, angazi ukuthi ngathini. Dewe ngijabule ngakhona. Kukudala ngigijimela lendlu ngiyilangazalela.
Yeah.
So namhlanje ngitholile ngizohlala kahle. Imvula zisinetha. Yo, mina futhi nginabantwana abaningi lapha ekhaya. Bekuyisona imvula ina.
Ningakhe ekhaya ma?
Abazukulu bami njengamanje. Sibayi 10 endlini engihlala nabo.
Yo.
Plaza abomama abo bayi3, yimi wes4.
Okay. So Mama Nkwana is saying that she's so excited today because for a very, very long time she was living in an informal settlement or a shack where there was so many rains, and it was a complicated situation because she had so many siblings, up to 10 siblings in a small shack, and only she had 3 children of hers, and it was very, very complicated. Mama, how is it? Have you seen a little bit of your house? And manje, because this must be exciting for you. Okay.
So ngijabulile ngoba ngibona mhlawumbe noma singahlala kulama shelter amanye ba labantomazana amahlale ngaphandle.
Yeah.
Abazukulu nami sizabukhona ukuhlala endlini kahle silingane kahle. Mawuba ungangena lapha kwami ekseni bozobona umhlolo.
Ukwenzakalani baba?
Abanye bavale ngamakhanda nje eminyango.
And then izukulu bona bacabangani ngale this new wonderful possibility, this fact that good manje senendlu yenu.
Ba bona basasebancane maka kodwa bajabulile ukuthi nami gogo siyohlala nathi njengabanye abantu endlini.
Yeah. Gogo for wena awubhekile impilo yakho manje, when you look back ukuthi izochinja kanjani from now on?
Izochinja kakhulu ngoba lokho bekwenzeka ukuthi imvula mayina mhlambe yana ebusuku fanele kuvukwe kuphuthwa izinto bame ngamasayidi ezinye zibhekamisa imbhedi iphakamiswe mara kuzochinja maze kuzochinja kakhulu.
All right, congratulations mama. And when uzizwa kanjani ngecommunity yakho ngoba la abantu basekasilakho manje labakenzela so ucabangani ngabo?
Yo ngijabule kakhulu ngoba ngihambile ngifuna le ndlu ngahamba bese ngilahlele nethawula manje ngithi hayi ngizobona mhlazana beakha abazuza nje bathakele so ngijabule kakhulu ngalabe basihambela till sizothola le ndlu ngijabule leyo angle ne habitat ukuthi namhlanje nami ngizozibiza ukuthi ngumama ohlala endlini nami.
Okay, siyabonga mama. Congratulations and sonke sikujabulele and siyabonga ukuthi ube nathi la eChannel Africa.
Okay baba ngiyabonga.
That's Mama Anankwala there, a recipient of a house. And she was just describing, as we were wrapping up that conversation with her, that when it was raining, the situation was very, very difficult. The family would have to actually wake up, and where the rain was coming into the house, they would have to actually remove furniture, they would have to rearrange things, and things used to really get very difficult. They would lose some of their household items, and she was very, very thankful of her family, very thankful of this community, and mostly importantly, she really was grateful for what Habitat for Humanity has actually done. And Pali, this makes me think that, at times you think what you have is, normal. But for many families, what we have, some of us, is something that is a miracle for some.
Absolutely. And that miracle does live and breathe through this community today, as not just one person is a recipient. Their family and therefore their community and their futures are part of this incredible program. I mean, the 10 grandchildren that Mama Anna that you just spoke to has, they now have a new hope, right?
Yeah.
They now are excited to say, we live like other people. They've been seeing some people in the community and maybe on their way to school, they see their homes everywhere. Why can't we have a home? And now they have hope for the fact that they could be better for their lives as well. And it might sound like something small, but it's actually a life-changing event.
Yeah, I was very moved when Mama Jane, when you were speaking to her, and when she was saying this is first time that she's going to have her own house.
Yeah.
At the age of what? She
and
looks
she's
like
already a
over-
pensioner.
She's already a pensioner.
Yeah, so over the age of 60 already,
yeah.
and
this is
going
just
to
the
be her
first
time.
house. Yeah.
So it's heartwarming. It is a heartwarming thing indeed. And when you get to hear the real stories of people and some of their everyday challenges, you become more grateful. And I think that's what a day like this is about. It's not just about, hey, let me take a little bit extra that I have and give to others. It really is a day of gratitude, being grateful for what you have and also seeing gratitude in other people for the small and the big things.
And I love the fact that as the representative for Habitat for Humanity was speaking to us, saying that actually these projects are not people coming from outside of the community. It's actually people from your own hood that are saying, you know what, we're also going to volunteer. We want to be part of this. We want to contribute to Mama Ann's house. We want to contribute to Mama Jane's house. And we want to build that house ourselves as a community. It's also moving to that degree.
Incredibly moving. Well, we're going to be having more of these moving moments. It is Nelson Mandela Day after all as we participate in this particular project today. But let's keep things moving onto the other side. It's almost 10:30 Central Africa time. We have Musibudi Makura back at our SABC studios with our latest sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Este é o Caleidoscópio de Canal África, com Remo Samo e com Yabalá.
O surto da cólera em Angola tem causado grande preocupação, afetando já mais de metade das províncias do país. Simultaneamente, a Agência dos Estados Unidos para o Desenvolvimento Internacional, USAID, um dos maiores doadores mundiais de assistência humanitária, decidiu não priorizar os países com maior incidência de malária. Para discutirmos as causas do alastramento da cólera em Angola e os impactos dessa decisão da USAID, convidamos o Dr. Jeremias Agostinho, médico e mestre em saúde pública, para partilhar partilhar a sua visão sobre o tema.
A doença, nesse momento, representa o maior risco de saúde pública que nós temos. Nos últimos anos, a nossa preocupação esteve sempre centrado com os casos de malária, os casos de tuberculose e também de infecção por VIH-Sida. A forma como, em pouco menos de 2 meses, os casos de cólera vêm aumentando, acaba por representar, nessa altura, um dos maiores desafios que o país tem. É expectável que, nesta fase, o número de casos venha a aumentar.
De segunda a sexta-feira, das 20 às 21 horas locais, este é o Caleidoscópio do Canal África.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
And a very good morning from the sports desk. Let's start here. So defending champions Senegal have been confirmed as the 4th team in a crucial tournament just ahead of the 2024 Total Energies African Nations CHAN tournament that is set to take place in East Africa next month. The West African Giants step in as late replacement for Congo-Brazzaville, who pulled out of the mini tournament due to logistical challenges. The event will be staged from the 21st of July until the 27th of July in Arusha, Tanzania, and features CHAN 2024 co-hosts Kenya, Uganda, as well as Tanzania. Organized under the auspices of SACAFA, the 4-team competition is designed to offer vital match practice for the participating teams. Less than 2 weeks to go before the CHAN tournament is set to kick off on the 2nd of August. Now, Yusuf Morsi, the competition's director, and the Council of East and Central Africa Footballing Association, SACAFA, says the inclusion of Senegal enhances the competition level of the warm-up event. The mini-tournament will also adopt a round-robin format with each team playing 3 matches each. On to some cricket news now. South Africa's under-19 co-captain Mohamed Bouboulia's 72 of 79 deliveries was all but in vain as he watched his side go down by a massive 130 runs to Bangladesh in their first youth ODI match played in Benoni in the east of Johannesburg. Having elected to bowl first, the host side struggled to get rid of Zawad Abrai, Rizan Hossan as well as MD Abdullah as they scored a damaging combined 196 with the bat and ultimately ending on 285 runs. The co-captain says although the score was quite competitive to try and chase, he thought they could have still covered it.
Yeah, listen, I think it was quite a competitive game of cricket. I think Bangladesh played really well across the game in both innings. I think obviously we got off to a good start with a few early wickets and then a couple of partnerships. I still think our bowlers did an excellent job to bring it back at the back end the last 14, 15 overs the way we did. And at the break, 280 I think was gettable.
The skipper also praised the bowlers in the match, especially JJ Basson, who returned figures of 4 for 47 and also helped keep the total under 300, coming from 228 for 3 with 9 overs left. Basson dug deep at the back end of the innings to give his team some hope.
Yeah, I think brilliant. I think someone who works extremely hard. I think a very good thinker of the game, very smart bowler, and that's the same way he went about it today. I think early on he gets wickets for us and that's his job, but at the back end today again, exceptional, just the way he went about it. The plans were good, execution was good, really happy. Yeah, I think the Bangladesh guys bowled really well up front. I think the seamers were on it and a lot was happening with the concussion and a lot going on. So I think early on was just about absorbing pressure and then hoping that a couple of partnerships can build in the middle where you can kind of put the pressure back on. Unfortunately, those partnerships never really got too big.
On to tennis news now. Ons Jabeur is taking a step back from tennis for her own well-being. The WTA announced on Thursday the Tunisian had withdrawn from the forthcoming Montreal Open in Canada, as well as added the 30-year-old was the only player in the top 99 who has not entered next month's US Open, which also happens to be the 4th Grand Slam tournament of the year. Jabeur has been as high as number 2 in the world rankings, but has now dropped to 71st in the world. A 2-time Wimbledon runner-up, she retired from the first round match at the All England Club this year as she struggled on the tournament's hottest ever opening day. Well, that's a wrap from the sports desk at the Sawa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, simply send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call. The newsroom line is +27 11714 4459. It is 10:35 a.m. Central African time. I'm back with more sports news in the next hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibu D. Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Hello, Africa. We would love to hear your voice on our radio station. Be part of the fun and send a shout out or greeting message to your loved ones and your favorite Channel Africa presenters. Whether you're in Africa, the diaspora, or anywhere else around the globe, we want to hear your voice. Send your shout out message by sending an email to info@channelafrica.co.za or send them to our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. Help us diversify our sound with your voice. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa. Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Good morning. In our top business story at this hour, Nigeria's African Democratic Congress has demanded a full audit of Nigeria's refineries, citing reports that allege that successive governments have spent nearly $18 billion on rehabilitation of the three major refineries in the country. The party has questioned whether President Bola Tinubu's administration has been deceiving Nigerians, having spent over $2.8 billion on the refineries before declaring that they're now planning to sell them because they are defunct. They say they're suspicious of government's decision to sell these refineries without giving full consideration to alternative options, and that this could lead to national assets being deliberately devalued and sold to cronies. The Cross-Border Traders Association of Malawi says Tanzania's move to introduce a mandatory travel insurance of $44 upon entry is a trade barrier to cross-border traders. This new requirement applies to all international visitors, regardless of the purpose of travel, including tourists and business travelers. Malawi and other COMESA member states have since demanded talks with the government of Tanzania to especially address the issue of small-scale traders who will be impacted by this. The desk officer at the Cross-Border Traders Association of Malawi, Richard Batch, explains.
As you know that we are fighting for the non-tariff barriers. So bringing in another cost that is not unplanned for the business is also a challenge, which also affect most of the small-scale traders as they are traveling and doing their businesses. Hence, there is a need to remove this cost for the small-scale traders so that they should travel freely when they are doing their businesses.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says the South African government generated about $22.4 billion in infrastructure investment last year. He says amongst other stakeholders involved to achieve this is the private sector. He described this as a milestone in financial injections since 2021.
Last year, the total value of new projects announced by both the public and the private sectors amounted to 454 billion rand, the largest fixed investment in infrastructure in South Africa since 2021.
Nigerian billionaire businessman Aliko Dangote is seeking approval to develop a new seaport in Olokola, Ogun State, located about 100 kilometers from his fertilizer and oil refinery complex in Lagos. The proposed Atlantic seaport would boost export capacity and ease logistics, complementing the on-site jetty he currently uses to ship urea and receive heavy equipment for the refinery. Economic analyst Progress Palm Springs says the proposed seaport is also strategically positioned and will provide significant economic benefits for Nigeria's economy.
Strategic trade positioning. Located on the Atlantic coast, the port offers access to both West African regional markets and global shipping routes, a major plus for transshipment and regional trade. Then, of course, job creation and economic zones. So this project will likely spur industrial clusters around the port. This includes warehousing, processing plants, export zones, creating thousands of jobs and bolstering Nigeria's non-oil GDP, which is something that is very, very important for Nigeria.
Brazil's President Lula da Silva has described as unacceptable blackmail his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump's threat to impose harsh tariffs on his country. Last week, Trump threatened Brazil with 50% tariffs. He also called for an end to the trial of his ally, the right-wing former President Jair Bolsonaro, who's accused of trying to overturn Brazil's 2022 election. In a televised address, President Lula accused Trump of making false claims.
The allegations about Brazil's unfair trade practices are false. For over 15 years, the United States has run a substantial trade surplus of $410 billion with Brazil.
And now for a look at the indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,528 naira. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 29. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 40, and in Zambia, it's 23 kwacha 14. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 rial 56. Russia, 78 rubles 11. India, it's 85 rupees 99. China, 7 yuan 17, and South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 85 cents. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,336 and platinum at $1,461 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $69.51 a barrel. And those are your business news. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Bontle Headbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
ngati uli oyimba watsopano yemwe akufuna kuti nyimbo zake zifike kwa anthu ambiri kapenanso kuti zimvedwa pa wailesi, ife tikuthandiza kuti izi zichitike. Chitani izi: tumiza nyimbo zako pa tsamba la intaneti la music@channelafrica.co.za limodzi ndi dzina la nyimbo, ISRC code la oyimba, mkonzi, chilankhulo, chamba ndi olemba nyimbo zako. Mvera nyimbo yako ya pa tsiku pa wailesi yomveka bwino ndi Channel Africa ndi nyimbo zako. Sungaboweke kamba kokuti ife tisewera nyimbo yako. Mvera nyimbo zabwino mu Africa pa Channel Africa. Kalilole wa Africa.
SABC Sport brings you Chasing the Sun, a powerful 5-part documentary series about the Springboks, telling the rousing tale of their path to redemption and ultimate World Cup glory in 2019. Starting 13 July at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2, tune in every Sunday for the highs, the heartache, and the heroics that made rugby history. Stream each chapter on SABC Plus, anytime, anywhere. No subscription needed. Don't miss Chasing the Sun this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2. Be there when history shines.
This Mandela Month, we honor his belief that education is the most powerful weapon to change the world.
Education is one of the most important weapons in a country.
Catch us on DSTV Bouquet 802. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move. Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa. Partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the
continent. This one is titled Milodi Bagudu. Takes us to 10:47 Central African time. Now we hang out with Percy Motwa, who's the chairperson for CBO Esihlahleni Sentutugo, Tree of Hope. Thank you, Percy, for joining us here for our outside broadcast. It's an exciting day today. People are going to receive homes, and your organization is part of that. Tell us how.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you to your listeners. We, as Esihlahleni Sentutugo community-based organization, we work together with Habitat for Humanity. What we do, they conduct a selection criteria identifying of these vulnerable families. Yeah, that's the first process that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there we hand over to Habitat for Humanity, in which they come in to approve these families.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that are selected or rather approved, they are the one that receive this type of houses.
Oh, nice. How do you select who gets the house, which year, and how? I'm sure there's a long waiting list.
There's a long waiting list, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we have a document that we use. The document, we score. There were some score sheets there. We score depending on the vulnerability of the family. Yes, and then we hand it over to, after doing that, we hand it over to Habitat, in which Habitat also to conduct their own process. Yeah, into making sure that the families, the person that, or rather the particular family, is rather qualifies. Yes,
sure.
Yes, qualify for this program. Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about how you got involved in this, Percy, as a community member.
Okay, I happened to be one of the people who wanted a house, so I joined in as a group called Esihlahleni. And this group was formed by another man, is late now. Yes, I joined in there, so I was elected as well to be a committee, yes, to be one of the committees in that, to actually go to the government offices, or rather government entities, to request that they should help us apply for our subsidies. So when we get approved, and then that's when they identify CRO, community resource organization like Habitat, to come and build the kind of houses for us, the type of houses for us. But this one is very different.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is different. It doesn't require subsidies. It's when the Habitat for Humanity goes to the donors, ask for the donors to come to assist with funds so that they can build. They can together with us build houses for their vulnerable families.
Yeah.
So my involvement was that. Until then, I joined in the committee, and then from the committee we started an organization called Eslahlin Sentutuko. Yes.
This involvement is powerful because, when we were speaking to Habitat for Humanity earlier on, they say, they get involved, but mainly this is all about the community getting their hands dirty and becoming part of making a change and a difference in the lives of people in their own communities. How powerful is that for you when you see people that you live with every day changing the lives of each other?
Very, very powerful. I must say, it also brings hope, and the positive attitude as well.
Yeah.
It also encourages us to be neighborly. Yes, it's a very good program, and also it's a life-changing program. It's a life-changing program because, to be honest with you, when you engage in such programs, only to find that people this expose, I don't know whether should I say, it makes you want to be exposed in things that you never even thought. Yes, you find the living situations of these families are
they're very difficult.
They're very difficult.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult. So I remember one time we went to a certain family. When we went there, they cried, literally cried, and we cried with them. That's how emotional. This can get you.
Yeah. And as we wrap up, I want to get your thoughts on, the fact that people's lives are changed one house at a time. It looks different in different projects, of course. But what have you seen as being a change in this community through these projects? What's the one thing that stands out for you?
One thing that stands out for me, I want to speak on behalf of, I want to speak from the family that I once saw. They saved some money, but that money was not enough for them to build a house. So when we came, identified that family, and then through the selection criteria, and they were approved, we built a house for them. Then after, they managed to build a mural around the house and put on a gate.
Wow.
So it's a startup.
Yeah.
It's a startup. It encourages you because you see the love for these houses. They even put on extra features, and so you can see that they want, but they can't. Yes.
It's not that people are not having houses because they are lazy to do so, but people are trying their best. But when they get that opportunity, they are grateful of it.
They are grateful of it, and you can tell that they are grateful of it because they go an extra mile. Like as I made an example of that particular family that has built a mural around the house. Some maybe they put on the battle doors, but you see that they have the love for these houses. They love these houses. Yes.
We were speaking about this, with Bali earlier on, my colleague, and we were talking about how, us people who have homes, we think, it's just a house, I've got a house. Sometimes you take these things for granted, where some families, they don't even have a house. We're speaking to the two ladies who are recipients of the houses that are being built this time around this year for Nelson Mandela Day. And the ladies are over 50. One of them had already retired. And this was her first house after years and years and years of living in a shack. And it just shows you that some of us must be grateful for what we have.
Very true, very true. You know, these families, especially the elderly, we find them in hopeless situation where there's no hope at all. They have no hope. They're just waiting for their time to go, because they say they have been waiting and waiting and waiting. So when we come, you can just see it's a life-changing experience. The smile, the joy, I have no words can describe how they feel, but it gives you that fulfillment, the joy also inside of you that you have done something.
And you're not changing just that grandmother's life. The other lady was telling us that, she has 10 siblings, and she was living with 10 siblings or nephews, grandchildren, I mean, in terms of 10 of them, excluding her, right? And she's got other 3 children. So there's 14 of them in the same shack, living there all together. And you guys are building a house for them. So you are changing the lives of 14 people by building one house.
Yes. And I don't know whether she mentioned that when it's raining.
Yes, she mentioned, that they have to move the furniture.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have to move the furniture. I don't know. She told you about her legs. Now she used to use a toilet outside. So you can just imagine.
Yes, because she was walking on a crutch.
Oh, yes, the difficulty. So this type of houses, at least they have a toilet inside. So it makes it easy for her as an elderly person. Yeah.
Moving forward, where do you want to go as an organization? You guys are doing fantastic community work. It's one house at a time. I think one act makes a difference. I know we live in a world where we don't see the power of one action and one act, but one act can make a difference. Where do you see your organization going?
We see our organization going as far as outside, serving the people outside of Orange Farm.
Oh, wow.
Reaching out to other communities, because it's not only the communities in Orange Farm that are vulnerable. There are other communities outside. We see ourselves in maybe getting into skill development programs to help and assist our youngsters to be developed and skillfully. So so many things so far, but we are aiming to go outside of Orange Farm.
Well put, Percy. Thank you so much, especially as a man of the community. One of the grandmothers was saying that thank you to the men of this community for identifying even the women in need in this community. So thank you for being a champion in this community and also assisting even the women of this community, because they can be the most marginalized as well amongst children. So thank you for being an example.
Thank you so much.
That's Percy Motwa, who is the chairperson for Esihlahleni Sentuthuko. That's the Tree of Hope. Inspiring stories that are coming here. And you know what? It's a lesson for all of us to learn that let's never take anything for granted. There's nothing that you have that somebody else doesn't have. So whatever you have in your hands, just know that you should just take it as a gift, as a precious gift. Sometimes we get used to the homes we live in, the food that we eat, the cars that we drive, the education that we have, the children that we have, but not everyone has what you have. And I'm glad that here in this community there's people who see that, hey, there's this mother who doesn't have this. Let's make a difference in their lives. Totally inspiring stories of hope right here on Nelson Mandela a Day. A wonderful, wonderful day it is. Well, we're moving into the third hour of the show. It's 1100 hours Central African time. Let's get our latest news in our Johannesburg studios.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Looking at your top stories, South Sudan once again at a political crossroad, and the US says it did not support Israeli strikes on Syria this week. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. South Sudan is once again at a political crossroad. The main opposition party, the SPLM-IO, has rejected President Salva Kiir's latest call for dialogue, citing arrest of its leaders and ongoing military pressure. With Vice President Riek Machar reportedly under house arrest and the 2018 peace agreement under serious strain, fears of a return of conflicts are growing. South Africa's Special Investigating Unit has urged citizens in the country to support the Judicial Commission of Inquiry established by President Cyril Ramaphosa. This follows an expose by KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, who has alleged that top police officials, including the Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, were in cahoots with criminals. The head of the Special Investigating Units, Advocate Andy Motibi, says the commission is a semi-judicial process that will investigate these allegations.
That process, it's a process that's going to determine the veracity, truthfulness, accuracy, and whether they are really, accurate, that anybody needs to be held to account. That is a measure to test the veracity and accuracy of those allegations, and we need to support that. And really we must applaud the president for having put in place that commission, so that anyone who's got the information should go there and testify and present.
South Africa's Metro Police have warned motorists of potential traffic delays in Pretoria this morning because of two marches. One is organized by Defence South Africa and other civic movements, and the other by the Umkhonto weSizwe Party. The two groups will march from Marabastad and Church Square respectively to the Union buildings. The Defence South Africa group is demanding President Cyril Ramaphosa's immediate resignation, while the MK Party's march is in support of the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Police have urged motorists to use alternative routes. Nhlanhla Ntshingila explains.
According to a statement by the TMPD, marchers are expected to disperse from the Union buildings at 14:30. The following streets will be affected: Struben, Sophie de Bruin, Madiba, Bosman, Paul Kruger, Thabo Sehume, Lillian Ngoyi, Sisulu, Dudoy, Nelson Mandela Drive, Steve Biko, and Hamilton Street. The Tshwane Metro Police and the South African Police Service officers will be deployed to monitor the march and all the affected streets. Nhlanhla Ntshingila for SABC News, Pretoria.
The chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, Dr. Naledi Pandor, will deliver a keynote address during the official commemoration of Nelson Mandela International Day at the United Nations in New York later today. Pandor also opened an exhibition at the UN headquarters last night. The title of the exhibition is Our Shared Humanity in Action, reflecting on the UN Special Committee Against Apartheid. The key themes of Pandor's keynote address to the General Assembly are expected to include a call for global solidarity to end conflict and war. Lastly, the US said it did not support Israeli strikes on Syria this week. It says the President Donald Trump views the attack with displeasure. Israeli forces have bombed both the Syrian capital Damascus and the southern province of Suwaida. Nearly 600 people are reported to have been killed in sectarian violence between Bedouin Druze people and Suwaida. U.S. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce has called for de-escalation.
The United States unequivocally condemns the violence. We are engaging diplomatically with Israel and Syria at the highest levels, both to address the present crisis and reach a lasting agreement between the two sovereign states.
Recapping on your top stories, South Sudan is once again at a political crossroad. The main opposition party, the SPLM-IO, has rejected President Salva Kiir's latest call for dialogue, citing arrests of its leaders and ongoing military pressure. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Nsinsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Hey, it is a Friday, and we're having so many inspirational stories right here at this wonderful outside broadcast. We're partnering up with the SABC Foundation as Channel Africa, and we're giving news, information, entertainment. I don't know what to call today. Should we call it inspiration from an African perspective?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I think so.
Yeah.
Ben doesn't want to turn on my mic, Ben.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's definitely inspiration today as well.
It is inspiration to giving you from an African perspective. You know, we as Africans, the more we get involved in our communities, I think that's where the change starts. That's where we actually can harvest something new. Not waiting for someone to come from outside of our communities. We are the ones in our direct communities that are the change that we want to see. And that's the feeling that we're getting here at this Nelson Mandela Build project. It's right here in this wonderful community center where we are. It's an old building. You can see it's
every milestone and every triumph, not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands.
As it is a Friday, so we're going to continue with our artist profile. Our artist profile is always cool. Who are we speaking about today?
Well, today we're speaking to a powerful vocalist from Ghana, West Africa. He's said to be a pioneer of Afro-spiritual music, so that sounds like quite an interesting blend there, and a unique genre that's been influenced by what he calls Yahweh Shrine, the sound goddess. So we're going to find out a little bit more about that. Sounds like there are a lot of spiritual inspirations in this particular genre that Inam brings forward, and he's going to be chatting to us about that music, and of course we'll get to hear a little bit of it in this hour of the show.
Inam is a powerful vocalist from Ghana, West Africa, so that should be a nice mix as well, getting some continental music. We've been doing that for a while. Last week we spoke to a wonderful artist. I'm still listening to her music from Namibia.
She was incredible, wasn't she?
She was pretty cool. Well, the language was a Khoi language that she was singing in, right?
Yeah.
So it's always a venture to find out what's happening here. Hey, you can hear that. There's cars in the background. Don't be worried. That's part of the broadcast. We are outside here with the community of Orange Farm, and we are seeing people actually moving out slowly but surely. There was a talk inside, and people talking about the deliberations of the day. But people are going to go just in a few minutes' time and get to build this house that we're going to be contributing to today. But other houses have been built since Monday, but today is the finality of this wonderful project. So we're looking forward to that. But now it's all about music. Our artist profile is coming up. Remember, if you want to see the activities of the day, go to our different social media platforms at Channel Africa 1 being the main handle.
The Upside, your afternoons just got even better.
Bantu Biko Street by Simpiwe Dana. Ndi ready. Simpiwe, 20 years in song. So what emotions come up when you hear that, hey, you've been doing this for 20 years now?
It almost feels like no time has passed, eh? I just, I know obviously time has passed, but I don't feel it. Even about my age, I'm 45. I always get shocked when I think, oh my God, in 5 years' time, I'll be 50. Because for me as an artist, it's almost like when it comes to certain things, time stands still. And as a result, you find that a lot of artists are very childlike, which, helps them to always have a fresh approach to issues.
I tell you what, I'm feeling healed just by that.
We take no sides, none whatsoever. We are the Upside. Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move. Media planning and advertisers. Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa. Partner with Channel Africa because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa. Partner with Channel Africa because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja.
That is the transcendent sound there coming from Inam. Beautiful music there. Definitely taking you into a magical fantasy space. And sounds like there's a lot of healing in this place. Sounds like there's a little bit of prayer here and maybe a little bit of meditation. That's what it felt for me as I was listening to that one. That is Inam, who is a vocalist coming from Ghana, West Africa. And she says she's a pioneer of what she calls Afro-spiritual music. Inam joins us on the line. Thank you for joining us on the line, Inam. Welcome on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. Tell us a little bit about what the name of that song is and what it's about. It sounds very magical.
Afa is a song that actually carries the energy of healing and the frequency that restores healing. And it's also a truth song. It is actually telling us what the truth is and what we are supposed to follow as people. We have our things that are orchestrated and designed for us, specially made for us. And as African people, we have our way of life and we have the things that are specially made for us, suitable for us. And those are the things that we need to go back to in these times. And so that's what the awakening calls for. So it even goes beyond the language because it doesn't even need you to understand because it just carries the frequency you need. I saw you listing all the things that you hear. You feel the healing, you feel the energy of restoration, you feel the power, you feel the truth, you feel meditation, you feel awakening, and you feel all the elements of spirituality. And so that is what Afa is about.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from in Ghana? What's your upbringing like?
I'm from Ghana. I'm from the charged part of Ghana they call Volta region, and that is where the waters are. So when you go to the Volta region, it is mostly the islands, the waterlands, the wetlands, where we have the estuaries and, all of those things. And this is a highly powerful land. It is a highly voltage land. And so this is where we have all the healers, all the spiritual people, and all the magical beings. And those people there are especially gifted to be people that are diviners, that are spiritual workers, and a whole host of them. And growing up, I grew up in the shrine, and I'm from a royal family. Royalty, tradition, and culture moves hand in hand. And so growing up, I grew up in the shrine where I used to go to the sacred grounds with my great grandmothers and great grandfathers who happened to be Haji Vodushis, priests, priestesses, and all other things. And so I saw my great grandmothers healing people through sound healing, herbal bath, soul travel, astral trips, and all of those things. And they used to use sound and they used herb. And in my village where I grew up, sound is like a very big deal because we are on the islands and we don't even use a single fertilizer to grow the plant. We use sound because we believe that sound is the heartbeat of the world. And so to keep the hearts pumping for the world, we must keep the sound moving. That is why the creator also puts the heartbeat of the world in the things that he has created, like the ocean is constantly waving and producing sound so that the world will keep going. And we as humans, we have the heart, and the heart is constantly singing. The music of the heart is on repeat. And so the day your heart stops singing is the day it ends, because when you go to the hospital, the doctor will put their headphones on. That is what I call it. And they use to listen to the music of your heart to see if your heart is still singing. And the only thing that makes us know you are still alive is when your heart's music is still on. And so sound has been like the greatest part of my life, because from where I come from, we really make a big deal out of sound. And so sound has really saved and solved a lot of great problems for us. And so growing up around those people, it actually ignited the sound goddess in me, because these are sound goddesses. Hajivodushi means a goddess with a gift of songs. So these people
That's amazing. I want to
usually
get into that just a little bit later. Sorry to cut you off there. We need to go to a break, but it seemed like when I spoke about your upbringing, where you come from, and you spoke about your home and where you grew up, there was light that lit inside of you, and you explained so many of your influences and how you gave yourself that opportunity to be a musician. We'll talk more about that after this break. Stay with us on the line, Inam.
Africa at Play with NATO and ETO chairman.
The Confederation of African Athletics, CAA President Mr. Hamad Kalkaba Malboum, talk to us about the state of athletics in Africa as it stands, and what picture are you looking at 5 years later?
Yeah, athletics in Africa is strong. We are able to organize our major events in time. Like this year, we will have the under 20 and under 18 African Championship in Nigeria. Next year, we will have the senior in Ghana. In 2027, we will go back to Algeria to organize the under 18 and under 20. And then 2028, we will have the senior championship in Gaborone in Botswana. Well, by this program, we can increase our performance. And at the same time, we are considering the fact that within the British Federation, they are identifying young talent every year within their national program, within the scholarship championship. And so the athletics in Africa is in good standard.
Live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Okay, play their song.
Keeping you on the know and on the move.
Namafon, malagbe, madakbe, malinye, madakbe, alabe.
French and Portuguese, the languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and...
It is quite an intriguing sound indeed as you hear the different elements of musicality, including some spiritual integrations there. Inam certainly is a powerful vocalist, and she's pioneering an Afro-spiritual sound that is influenced by what she calls the sound goddesses of the Yewe Shrine. And she continues to tell us a little bit more about her journey and her story right here on Channel Africa. Thank you for staying with us, Inam. You were telling a beautiful story about your upbringing and how the influences of sound in your region really influenced you and your musical journey. The kind of music that you make, have you heard anything like it when you were growing up? And how did you get inspired on all the levels that you draw inspiration from to create a sound like this?
Okay, so growing up, music was always part of my life. And I would say Afro-spiritual is the first genre, but then it's influenced by the sound goddesses of the Yewe Shrine. And these are people that are born. This is a generational thing. All my great-grandfathers and great-grandmothers were the pioneers of the spiritual music that we have existing today in Volta region. And so they make music like mine. But mine has been made into a more digestible form that will be consumable by the masses, because I felt like, how can this good thing be limited to just my people when the whole world can benefit? Because music should be there. Music is a living thing, and music shouldn't be denied. So every music should have spirit. And so the spirit of the music is what makes the music serve the purpose that it's here to serve. So I believe that every music that is produced is a living energy that is created. And so it needs to have a special role in it to impact the lives of the people that listen to it. So that's what the purpose of music has always been. And so when I started music long ago, I was doing music. I rap. I'm a writer, right? So I was doing music. I was doing hip hop. I was doing Afrobeat and a whole host of other things. Always, people really didn't know where to place my sound. And so I was very confused. I did the music for very long, and I wanted to really give up. and awakening. I had a very huge awakening, which I'll be speaking about when the album is out in 2 months. Uh, when I
Yeah.
had the awakening, I heard great grandmother Diamoto, who was the priestess of the shrine, singing to me. And she was singing a particular song to me, which is titled We Have. I sent that song to you. So that was the first that I had as a Afro spiritual song. And she was singing to me in the Hajivodushi code. And so she was actually channeling all the energies from the Hajivodushi that have crossed over to the other side to tell me the kind of music that I'm here to be doing. And so I'm supposed to actually send the message that was in my little village to the whole world. And this is how come Haji Vodushis are coming back again into the world and into the music space, this time to heal people and to provide people with what exactly music is there to serve. So that is why I'm on this course. It's the whole message from the other side to this side. And so it's like for all of us, it is our course. So our spiritual music is our music and our healing.
Wow, Inam, this is incredible. I mean, it gives me shivers down my spine to really bring back the fact that African spirituality plays a huge role in how we express ourselves and how we express ourselves through our art as well. And that seems to be lost a lot with the younger generations, but you have a message to tell, and that message is certainly coming through, even though I can't hear some of the words that you're saying, but I can definitely feel the presence of the music and feel the message through the sound itself. Now, tell us where we can find you on social media and how we can access you and access your music.
Okay, so Afro Spiritual is out and is really out. I'm on all social media platforms as Enam Music, ENAM. Enam, however you find it pleasing to call Enam Music. And I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram as Enam Music __. I'm on X as Enam Music __. I'm on TikTok as Enam Music or Hajivodushi. I'm on Facebook as Enam Music, YouTube as Enam Music World. My music is on all streaming platforms. My music is on Apple Music, is on iTunes, is on Spotify, Audio, Deezer, all of the streaming platforms and the musical that you can think of. And music is available everywhere. You can find social media as well: Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, Snapchat is Enam Music. The music is out.
Anam, thank you so much for your time. Your sound is incredible, and I really hope that it reaches so many people. But also, they get to learn more from you, because I think there's a lot of teaching that can take place. And getting into your world and understanding where this music comes from is just as intriguing. Thank you for spending your morning with us here on Channel Africa.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was such a great pleasure coming on here. I appreciate you pushing music and pushing me as an artist. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Anam. That is Anam. Incredible Afro spiritual music coming to us all the way from Ghana right here on Channel Africa. This sound that you've been hearing in the background is titled by Anam, and we're keeping things moving. Before we wrap up, it's 11:30 Central Africa time. We need to get our final bulletin of sports for the morning with Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Good morning once again from the sports desk. Now, Ruth Cheptegei, the women's marathon world record holder, has been provisionally suspended by the Athletics Integrity Unit for a banned substance. Now, the Duratec hydrochlorothiazide was detected in a sample collected by the World Anti-Doping Agency on the 14th of March. Now, the AIU said this in a statement yesterday. The 30-year-old Kenyan broke the world record to win the Chicago Marathon back in October of 2024, clocking a time of about 2 hours, 9 minutes and 56 seconds. Now, it's known as HCTZ, is used clinically to treat fluid retention as well as hypertension, and is a prohibited substance at all times under the World Anti-Doping Agency code. Now, the Kenyan's time in Chicago surpassed Ethiopia's Tisgat Asafa's previous record that was set back in 2023 at the Berlin Marathon by nearly 2 minutes. Now, the athlete was not provisionally suspended by the AIU at the time of notification. That was on the 16th of April. However, come the 19th of April, she opted for a voluntary provisional suspension while the AIU's investigation was ongoing. On to football news now. Defending champions Senegal have been confirmed as the fourth team in a crucial tournament ahead of the 2024 Total Energies African Nations Championship CHAN tournament that is set to take place in East Africa. Now, the West African Giants step into as late replacement for Congo Brazzaville, who pulled out of the mini tournament due to logistical challenges. The event will be staged from the 21st of July until the 27th of July in Arusha, Tanzania, and features CHAN's 2024 co-hosts Kenya, Uganda as well as Tanzania. Organised under the auspices of SECAFA, the four-team competition is designed to offer vital match practice for the participating sides less than 2 weeks before the CHAN tournament is set to kick off on the 2nd of August. Now, Yusuf Mossi, the competition's director at the Council of East as well as Central African Football Association, CASAFA, said the inclusion of Senegal enhances the competitive level of the warm-up event. The mini tournament will also adopt a round-robin format with each team playing 3 games each. Back home now, Swimming South Africa announced a new 1-year sponsorship agreement with Bombela, a concession company in Johannesburg on Thursday. The federation's last headline sponsor was Telkom, a telecommunications giant back in 2011. So over the past 2 weeks, Swimming South Africa has successfully secured 2 new partners, first signing Fila as their apparel sponsor and now landing a $5 million deal with Bombela. Now, this sponsorship includes an option to extend for an additional 3 years. Swimming South Africa CEO Sean Adrianse says this financial support allows the federation to worry less about funding and focus more on training as well as its core activities in the pool.
So for us to come back, and today we're announcing the partnership with Bombela. We're very happy and very pleased about that. And of course, it will mean that for us as a sporting organization, we can stress less about the financial aspect of it, and with the athletes and the coaches focus more on preparation and preparing for competition and making sure we keep on performing on the world stage.
Now, the seasoned sports administrator told the national broadcaster SABC that Swimming South Africa hopes to extend their partnership for several more years with a long-term vision leading up to the 2028 Los Angeles Olympic Games and beyond.
Yeah, importantly for us is the initial agreement with Bombela Concession Company is for 1 year. Of course, we're engaging, we've been ongoing engagements with Bombela to see if we can extend the partnership beyond just the 1 year. As we all know, to develop world-class athletes, specifically for the Olympic Games, it's an 8-year process. So we're quite happy with Bombela's concession company's willingness to come on board now. As I said, we continue to engage.
And finally, Wolves have inducted former forward Diogo Jota into the Hall of Fame in a tribute that honours both his remarkable achievements for the club as well as the deep impact his passing has had on the footballing world. The Portugal international, as well as his 25-year-old brother Andre Silva, who was also a footballer, died in a car crash in July of this month in a Spanish province of Zamora. Jota moved to Wolves from Atletico Madrid in July of 2017 in a deal which was initially supposed to be a season-long loan and then made permanent before going to join Liverpool in 2020. He scored 44 goals in 131 appearances for Wolves and was also a key player when they won the championship title in the 2017-2018 season to earn promotion into the Premier League. Jota also helped the Midlands club qualify for the Europa League with helping them finish in 7th position on the log during their first season back in top flight football. And with that, it's a wrap of your morning sports news right here on Channel Africa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, our email address is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. The Morning Switch Weekend with the Shy Guy.
The Shy Guy, a Morning Switch.
Have you ever listened to a song and then it gives you goosebumps? Because it takes you way back in the 80s. My goodness. Woo. Hey, baby. You hear Yvonne Chaga Chaga there. I want to talk to the DJ. And then the DJ goes like, hey, baby, I've got you on the other side. Huh? There were no WhatsApps then, right? There were no sliding in the DMs at the time. Oh, man.
Your weekend mornings are activated with the Shy Guy on the Morning Switch. This Mandela Month, we honor his belief that education is the most powerful weapon to change the world.
Education is one of the most important weapons in a country.
Catch us on DSTV Bouquet 802.
Hey, now we're joined by Buntle Headbush for the latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Benjamin. Good morning. In our final look at the business news this morning, South African Reserve Bank Governor Lesitsha Kganyago has called for regulatory alignment and more operable systems to enhance cross-border payments within the sub-Saharan African region. Speaking at a side event at the G20 finance meeting in Durban, South Africa, Kganyago stated that efficient, fast and secure cross-border payments are essential conduits for driving trade, capital flows and economic growth.
When sending money to a neighboring country, sometimes much closer in physical distance, the process can be slower, more costly, and less transparent. There are many examples of this in Africa and elsewhere, which suggest that the challenges are not about technical difficulty, but more about interoperability and regulatory alignment. I must acknowledge that significant progress has been made since 2020, thanks to the efforts of the Financial Stability Board. As we approach 2027, we need to consider how to ensure these efforts are coordinated so that the practical outcomes help us in achieving our targets.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa says government has set a new investment target of just over $112 billion over the next 5 years. He was replying to his budget vote debate in Parliament. He says that this is part of investment initiatives aimed at growing the economy to reduce the cost of living for South Africans.
Having reached our target ahead of schedule in 2023, we set ourselves a new target of approximately 2 trillion rand over the next 5-year period. The investment envoys in the presidency have played a formative role in mobilizing support for our investment drive.
South Africa's Valterra Platinum, the world's largest primary producer of platinum, says it expects to report a sharp fall in first half profit by as much as 88% due to lower output and sales, as well as one-off costs related to its demerger from Anglo American plc. Valterra, formerly known as Anglo American Platinum, says it expects headline earnings of between $44.97 million and $89.94 million in the 6 months to June 30th, down from $364.1 million during the same period last year. Platinum Group metal sales volumes fell 25% after heavy rainfall and flooding disrupted some of the company's operations, and demerger costs amounted to $78.4 million during the first half. Valterra demerged from Anglo in June and is now separately listed in London and Johannesburg. Nigeria's African Democratic Congress has demanded a full audit of Nigeria's refineries, citing reports that allege that successive governments have spent nearly $18 billion on rehabilitation of the three major refineries in the country. The party has questioned whether President Bola Tinubu's administration has been deceiving Nigerians, having spent over $2.8 billion on the refineries before declaring that they are now planning to sell them because they are defunct. They say they are suspicious of government's decision to sell these refineries without giving full consideration to alternative option, and that this could lead to national assets being deliberately devalued and sold to cronies. Further afield, Brazil's President Lula da Silva has described as unacceptable blackmail his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump's threat to impose harsh tariffs on his country. Last week, Trump threatened Brazil with 50% tariffs. He also called for an end to the trial of his ally, the right-wing former president Jair Bolsonaro, who's accused of trying to overturn Brazil's 2022 election. In a televised address, President Lula accused Trump of making false claims.
The allegations about Brazil's unfair trade practices are false. For over 15 years, the United States has run a substantial trade surplus of $410 billion with Brazil.
And now let's take our final look at the indicators this morning. $1 US in Nigeria is trading at 1,528 naira. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 29. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 40. And Zambia, it's 23 kwacha 14. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 rial 56. Russia, 78 rubles 11. In India, it's 85 rupees 99. China, 7 yuan 17. And South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 85 cents. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,351 per ounce and platinum at $1,465 per ounce. They've inched a bit higher this morning, while the price of Brent crude oil is also a bit higher at $70.50 a barrel. And those are your business news. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Buntle Headbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Have you been struggling to find Channel Africa?
Oh yes, where can I find you guys?
Well, you are in luck.
Warning, radioactive zone detected.
Listen to the African perspective on our brand new SABC Plus app. Download the fresh and easy to use app from sabcplus.com or the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Or just command your phone to find SABC Plus on your phone and check out all this good stuff. And that's where you will find Channel Africa, the African perspective. Oh yes, this is fresh and easy. Keeping you on the know and on the move.
SABC Sport brings you Chasing the Sun, a powerful 5-part documentary series about the Springboks, telling the rousing tale of their path to redemption and ultimate World Cup glory in 2019. Starting on the 13th of July at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2, tune in every Sunday for the highs, the heartache, and the heroics that made rugby history. Stream each chapter on SABC Plus anytime, anywhere, no subscription needed. Don't miss Chasing the Sun this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2. Be there when history shines.
Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin. Act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa. Partner with Channel Africa because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, One voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting. History, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For
Sibusiso, and before that one is Tiwa Savage featuring Dr. Sid, If I Start to Talk. Well, I see a lot of responses coming from you there, and thank you to those who've commented on our different social media platforms, and it's been a good, wonderful day right here on Channel Africa. I see someone saying that, you know what, they've also experienced what happens here at this particular day when they were young. I remember when I was young, I also had the opportunity to build a house with a Habitat for Humanity. It was a very fun day for myself. And I see some people are saying, hey, we've also had this wonderful experience of actually doing Mandela Day. Griffin Emmanuel Gawera says, I was part of this initiative in 2011. Griffin says, it is helpful for the community when to do this on behalf of the Anglican Church from Sunninghill. Thank you for that feedback. We really love hearing from you. And Hamzi Chibombo Snack says, hey, we are live right here on Channel Africa. We're definitely live, but we're about to get out of here. Remember, at midday Central African time, we'll get our Africa update. You'll get the latest news of what's happening on the African continent. Let's take a bit of a break, and then we'll be back to find out what's happening there.
Out and About with Puleng Mulibatsi.
Me Patricia Delil with us talking about just the growth and the development that South Africa is experiencing in terms of the tourism sector, which is also one of the driving contributors to the growth of the South African economy. What would you say are factors that are driving the positive trajectory in South Africa's tourism sector, Minister?
The whole value chain. And, I always get feedback to say that, South Africans are so friendly, the Ubuntu spirit. So our people are our biggest asset. And what we've also seen is that South Africa's value for money, and that we are eternally grateful for our African brothers and sisters. Because in 2023, we received 8.5 million visitors, and 6.5 came from the continent.
Minister of Tourism, Patricia De Lille.
Out and About comes to you every Saturday, 9 till 12 noon, Central African Time. Her name is Puleng Mulibatsi, and she's on Tech Africa.
Leading the tech conversation every single Sunday on Channel Africa.
Robotic process automation, just from a definitive perspective, is a software that emulates human activity for us to be able to remove mundane, repetitive tasks and build efficiency. That's what it means from a definitive perspective. Now, where exactly has this been reused, or has people seen this or familiar with? Now, you'd have seen probably in the automotive industry these big robots that are moving large objects and assembling them. And it's generally to assist the particular production process to be more efficient, and also to be able to avoid any injuries from human activity, to be able to lift these heavy objects that can cause harm.
And one of the key findings I think that stands out for me is that developing market economies and people are using AI much more than developed market economies, which I thought was quite surprising. In fact, in South Africa, amongst the people we surveyed, 91% report using generative AI for their work.
Tech Africa every Sunday, 9 till 12 noon, Central African Time. Keeping you on the know and on the move.
All right, we've had a fantastic day. We're going to continue being here for the next few hours, and this is our time for us to actually keep building. Palesa, did you have a good day?
I had a fantastic day, Benji. I had an incredible day.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, we're saying goodbye. We're going to go get our hands dirty right now. Remember, the Africa Update is coming up there. And goodbye, everyone. It's been a good one. Have a good weekend, Pali. What's the plan for the weekend?
Oh, I just want to relax this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a little massage after work. So that's going to be nice.
Who's doing the massaging?
Well, the spa.
Okay, that's
going
fancy.
To the spa.
No, you said massage like, I'm getting a massage from my son.
No. I'm going to the spa,
okay, that's
and
fancy.
I'm going to just spend my weekend relaxing. How about you?
I'm going to be home, man. Just being an old man for the weekend. 40 does that
You do that very well, being an old man. So I'm sure you'll have fun.
Yeah, I love it. I love sitting with my jazz and my wine and my garden and just enjoying the day. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the weekend. Have a good one. Stay safe, everyone.